Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Guiding Light. I'm Sierra Larson,
I'm Jenna Carson.
and we help women follow the peace. Today on our podcast, we will be talking about somatic therapy and working with pain. Jenna, tell us a little bit more about that.
This weekend, I was at a somatic therapy workshop with a woman named Swan Michelle, who is based out of New Orleans, and she is wonderful. I highly recommend her if you're ever in the area. She's a yoga teacher and a somatic therapy teacher. And the principles I learned are some principles I've learned in my therapeutic yoga training, but it had been a long time. And so I feel really inspired to dig in and share with you some things that Michelle talked about. So, credit to her. These are notes from my workshop with her, as well as some of my own thoughts and experiences. So,
Awesome.
yeah. So, in the first part of this episode, Sarah talked about what happens to our bodies when stress happens and how in our modern world, we're facing stressors of all sorts all the time, virtually all the time.
Yeah.
So, we're not running from tigers like our ancestors. However, we have lots of other stressors, traffic, social media, and emails, and things to do at work and in the home setting. So stressors all the time. What can happen is that our body can get so used to being in the state of stress that we are tensing, tensing, tensing. We are creating pain in the body, and we're not often giving ourselves a way to become aware of how we're holding the body and to release that tension that we're carrying. And so that can lead to devastating long-term effects in the physical body and in our psychological functioning. So, question for you. What if you could feel peace right here, right now, without changing any outer circumstances, without paying any money for some magic solution, but by simply using your God-given awareness, the intelligence of your body? Would you want that? Sierra, tell me.
Yes, absolutely.
Right. So, who doesn't want to feel peace? Who doesn't want to feel happy and joyful and peaceful? We all want that. So, somatic therapy is learning self regulation by getting the body in a state of ease so that you can get out of fight, flight, freeze, fawn mode and get into rest, digest, having peacefulness, and being able to get back to that natural state of ease that it really is our birthright. So, doing any kind of somatic therapy can be such a gift in our day-to-day life. Now, soma means body. So, really, when we're talking about somatic therapy, we are talking about techniques that help us get back to a state of awareness of what is going on in the body. So, I personally believe that virtually any meditation, any mind body practice is a form of somatic therapy because you're tuning in with your body, realigning the brain, the body, all of it. So this enhances immunity, energy, and peace. And so the goal is able to do work for yourself right away. As soon as you notice things coming to the surface for you, whether it's past trauma or a present stressor or both of those things, you notice them coming up. And then you can choose to attentively and intentionally address those symptoms that you're experiencing. And you can choose to not be in a reactive state constantly, where you're constantly living off stress hormones and depending on those in order to get things done. So it's about reading your body and what your body's telling you, because the body is so intelligent and the body knows. How many of you have been in experiences in your life where your brain is trying so hard to convince you to do something, but your body is telling you something else? Example, I was dating this really great guy, and my brain was telling me, Jenna, like, he's the perfect fit for you. Like, how can you not want to keep dating him? But my body was not having total, complete peace about continuing the relationship. And so I started listening to the signals in my body. And I sat with this, I meditated, I prayed, I talked to my therapist about it, and ultimately decided to end the relationship. And that was really hard for me because my mind kept telling me, Jenna, like it just makes sense. But my body could not lie to me. My body was having a real experience of not having total peace. And so this helped me make a really important decision in my life to end that relationship and move on. And with time, it's become clear that that was the right decision. So that's a small example. Another example is you get that like gut feeling that something isn't right. You have a gut feeling that you need to check on a friend. Your body is so intelligent, it knows things. The mind is prone to misperception. And so with somatic work, we listen to what the wisdom of the body. We recognize that pain is not good or bad. Pain is communication. It's telling us something. It's signaling something. And so when we can change our relationship to pain and to tension that often becomes pain or is associated with pain, when we change our relationship and see that as information rather than something to be afraid of, we can start having a narrative of empowerment. Any questions so far?
No, I mean, I'm just soaking it all in and really just kind of pondering about um, the discrepancies that sometimes we have between our minds and our bodies, and how attuning to our body can allow us to find peace and guiding light. And so I think that's really interesting because a lot of times I trust more of like my brain and, what do I think, and does this make sense? Because sometimes I feel like I can't trust my body because my body tends to be a little bit, and this is more from a neurodivergent perspective to having ADHD, but like my body tends to be very quick reacting to things, whereas my mind, if I'm really thinking and processing, I tends to be a lot slower. So the idea of like what could my body really be telling me in a slower moment is really just like something I'm really processing right now as you're talking about it.
Thank you for sharing that, Sierra. I think that's such an important point. It's going to be a little different for each of us to access the wisdom of the body. So for you, it sounds like it's about really slowing down in the moment and maybe taking some deep breaths to listen to the body. Actually, I think that's true for a lot of people. Like, yeah, we sometimes are, because we're in that state of fight or flight, in order to get to a place where we can trust the wisdom of the body, we really do have to come down, calm down. And that's why deep meditative states can be extremely helpful. So, I do want to acknowledge that there's definitely some exceptions to what I'm saying. So like if you've just experienced a severe acute trauma, your body is in such a heightened state that your work may be to bring that state to a more balanced bodily state before you can tap into that deep wisdom. So there are practices that can be done to tap into that wisdom. It's just that sometimes our bodies have had so much trauma or so many years of trauma that we've had to disassociate. We've had to ignore the wisdom of the body in order to survive.
Mm.
And that's why therapy and yoga therapy can be so, so helpful because over time we work on moving out of a state of disassociation to a state of safety in the body where we can have deep listening.
Absolutely. And I love that you brought up dissociation because I think that is a really great point. Maybe we'll do a little bit more later on dissociation. If y'all want to hear more about dissociation, let us know and we can do another episode on it. But I think it's a very important point of a lot of people who have had very significant traumas that may have been corporal, that don't feel safe in their bodies. And um, how can they attune? A lot of them may have difficulty meditating and attuning to the body because they don't feel safe in their own body. And so addressing that and the relationship between that and dissociating and how being dissociated allows them to feel safe. So I think that's a really interesting point. So lots of different facets of this to explore.
Yes. And I will share that in my own life, when I first came to seated meditation, I could not do it. I was in so much physical and emotional pain. I could not sit still. I didn't even realize I was holding my breath. It's been years. I'm still training myself to remember to breathe because I'm used to tensing and holding my breath. So, with a skilled therapist, a skilled yoga therapist, the very first step is creating safety for the body to experience what it's experiencing. And I'm so fortunate because I had teachers who would say, okay, you can't meditate sitting down, you meditate standing up. You can't meditate with your eyes closed, you keep them open. You do a moving meditation. So, there's all these techniques to help every body, everyone and every mind find safety. So yeah, we can get into that in other episodes as well. So for this for this deep inner wisdom, it's important to know that we can't really deeply access a relationship with our creator and have deep, deep, trusting, safe relationships with others when we are in these heightened states of disassociation. And so part of the work of somatic therapy, cognitive behavioral therapy, yoga therapy is to bring back a place where you can feel things and then align, realign. Anything you want to add to that, Sierra?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that when we are in these really heightened states, it is very hard to be led and guided by in a direction because it's hard to, I guess, attune to not only like our own inner self and what our voice is telling us, and also, like you're saying, what the body's telling us, and then connecting with a higher power and what they're telling, and finding this meeting. I think it's interesting because when we look at, from a mental health perspective, right, we look at hierarchy of needs. The most basic need is safety.
Hmm.
And then
Hmm.
when we get from a level of safety, then we look for connection and we look for transcendence and all of these other things that come after the basic need of safety. And if you never feel safe, you never feel safe in your body, you never feel safe in your environment, um, it's really hard to move towards a higher self,
Yeah. Yep.
because you're stuck in this survival mode, which you've had to be in. It's a valid mode and it makes sense that you're there. But you've had to be there. And until you're in a place physically, mentally, and emotionally, and even spiritually that feels safe to you, it's hard to progress past your current um, self and your current mind and environment that you're in, within it's hard to progress past your current realm of being wherever you are mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually.
Yes. And Sierra and I are both passionate about helping people who are in those acute states find safety. So if that's one of you, please feel free to reach out to us or whomever you can, whoever it makes sense for you to reach out to, please do, because there is hope. And your body is so intelligent. Your body has done such a good job of protecting you. And rather than shame your body for being in this state, you can say, "Thank you, body, for protecting me." So for the rest of this episode, we're going to focus on those of you who are able to be currently out of an acute state of trauma and feel safety in exploring some meditation. So yeah, go ahead, Sierra.
I was just going to say, just a quick disclaimer. If you're driving, this is for later.
Yeah, yeah.
If you're listening to this podcast while driving, then maybe press pause, come back to it later. And this is only an invitation if you feel like you are in a safe headspace, like Jenna was saying, and also if you feel like you're in a safe environment to do this, that you can really put your attention on this. But if you are doing something else, then maybe press pause and come back to it later when you have more time to do this.
Sounds great. Thank you for that, Sierra. This is a good place for us to go ahead and take a break and hear about our sponsor.
If you are a mental health therapist looking to streamline your practice and reach more clients, and you're just starting out or have an established practice, finding the right tools to manage your work can be challenging. That's where Headway comes in. Headway is a platform designed specifically for therapists, making it easier than ever to connect with clients, manage appointments, and handle billing, all in one place.
With Headway, you can focus more on what matters most, providing quality care to your clients. It's simple to use and it's tailored to meet the unique needs of mental health professionals. Plus, Headway helps you get paid faster and ensures you're never bogged down with administrative tasks.
And the best part, Headway connects you with new clients, expanding your reach without the need for constant marketing efforts. So whether you're a therapist, psychologist, or counselor, Headway has you covered.
If you're ready to simplify your practice and grow your client base, click the link in the show notes today to get a $100 sign-on bonus. To outgrow my pain. And so we do these practices to outgrow pain, to outgrow our past, to be grateful for the lessons of the past and to let the past go. We engage in these practices to become who we want to become, to feel more what we would like to feel, to have self inquiry and investigation so that we can open our hearts, our spirits to the revelation that is around us, the revelation of deep, loving relationships with others, with ourselves, and with the divine. So, that being said, I again want to remind all of us that pain is not good or bad. It is a messenger. And so in this meditation, we'll explore any messages that the body has to give us. So this gives the body a chance to speak and gives us a chance to listen. And it gives us a chance to bless the past with love and let it go. This is an affirmation from Louise Hayes that I like. She says, "I bless the past with love and let it go." And then finally, we do this exploration because, as Sarah and I mentioned before, we want to be in a state where we can associate with what we are experiencing rather than separating and disassociating. So, this meditation will be very short. So, if you're brand new to meditation, this will be great for you. So, wherever you are, find a comfortable position. And it's nice if your spine is aligned. So I recommend if you're seated to have your shoulders more or less over your hips and you want your ears aligned more or less over your shoulders. You can have a gentle tuck of the chin. You can make a little double chin to lengthen the back of the spine. That's really good too. Or you can be lying down or you can be standing up. If it feels safe, you might Allow the eyes to close. If you prefer the eyes open, you can gaze downward just a little bit in front of you. And begin to notice your breath, the inhale, the exhale. You might notice that on the inhale, the belly expands, and on the exhale, it travels back toward the spine. And just invite your awareness to notice your whole body from the crown of the head all the way to the toes, just noticing the body. And as you breathe here, there's nowhere to go, nothing to do, nothing to prove or accomplish. Just be. And this is a moment in which you ask your body what it has to say to you. So you might say to yourself, "What do you, body, have to say to me?" You might notice sensations that stand out to you, sensations that you might normally label as pain or tension, discomfort. But in this setting, you're going to invite the labels to let go, just release those labels, and just notice the sensation, any part of the body that is speaking sensation to you. And see if you can imagine that sensation as a glowing light, neither good nor bad, just pure energy. Just pure energy, no label, just energy. And as you breathe, that light of pure energy glows. And you can ask your body, is there any part of this energy that would like to release? If it's ready to release, you can imagine that energy traveling down, down toward the earth, being absorbed by the earth. Just pure energy absorbed by the earth. And then imagine a glowing, healing light, a light of healing starting at the heart center. And with every breath, that light glows brighter and brighter, radiating throughout the body, washing the body in peace, allowing the body to rest exactly as it is. And you might say, "Thank you. Thank you to the body. Thank you to the self for showing up to listen." And when you're ready, if your eyes are closed, allow the eyes to open. Thank you for sharing this short practice. If this worked for you, if it felt safe, we have a longer practice available now. It's about 15 minutes, goes a little bit deeper, and we would love for you to check that out. And if this was your very first time with any form of meditation or intentional body awareness, great job. This is awesome. Thank you for being here. If you are enjoying this content, please subscribe and follow us on social media, and we look forward to seeing you next time. I'm Jenna Carson.
I'm Sierra Larson. And remember to follow the peace.